Welcome to Complete QB Live. Tonight's special guest is Tahj Bullock of St. Peter's Prep. Here are your hosts, Chris Johnston and Ryan O'Flaherty.
Welcome back to Complete QB Live, folks. Coach, how's it going tonight, Coach O'Flaherty?
It's going well. Happy to join everybody tonight.
Yeah, ready to get after it. I know we're pretty excited for our guests. In case people haven't caught on yet, we have pretty much a rhythm, a little bit of a rhythm in the way that we introduce guests. We've got, we're going first with, we started off with the high school coach level, jumped to the college coach, and then try to get a player from the college and occasionally the high school level. We thought Tahj was a good fit tonight because he's a guy who is he's a guy who's highly recruited, and I think probably the experiences he's had over the last few years can really be helpful to a lot of people out there, regardless of what their goals are in their quarterback life. He's somebody who they can probably get a lot from, and he's also a guy who's got a good head on his shoulders and can pretty much explain his vision for his quarterback life pretty well. So we're excited for that for sure. So, Coach, just a quick top-down look at what we're going to do tonight. We're going to jump into some college football talk, which we're excited about, right? A couple of weeks back, or last week, we talked about the most exciting transfer maybe in 2020, eligible transfer that'll be taking the field for a new school as a graduate transfer. This week, we're going to jump into guys that are coaches that are in some unique coaching situations. Coach, I got a little curveball for you, man. I know that you have three and I have two of these guys tonight. And I don't think you know who my two guys are yet, do you? I was pretty cloak and dagger in the production meeting. Our Monday night production meeting, I didn't have much to say about that. But I think one of the guys is a little bit of a different feel. And, Coach, you're going to love the trivia question tonight. That's fun. We'll finish everything up with a trivia question. I do have to say, we got to disappoint a little bit tonight. Our food segment is not going to be rolling like we expected this week, Coach. It's a 1 week delay, but we're going to hit a home run next week when we talk about recommended food spots from the Complete QB staff, about places near us that we think are quality places to get something to eat, Then certainly, Coach, we'll jump into drill of the week. We're going to debut a drill tomorrow on YouTube that we'll spend a little bit of time tonight talking about, and just try to put a little bit of emphasis on what we think is probably an overlooked aspect of quarterback play when it comes to the delivery and all of that. So looking forward to it. Before we even jump into that, Coach, how was your week, man? How was your week as a high school football coach in quarantine, man? How was it?
It was good. I'm getting pretty good at this thing. I mean, I'm itching to get back with the team and things like that, and get out of the house a little bit more. But I'm getting into pretty good rhythm in terms of school and football. And
absolutely.
But I trade that in a heartbeat for.
No doubt. I think we all would, just to get back
on the field with these guys soon. No
doubt. Now, what time do you get up in the morning during quarantine, Coach? That's what I want to know. What's the Coach O'Flaherty daily routine look like?
I don't know. I'm usually an early riser. 6 o'clock, 6:30. Depends on how late the little one goes down. You know that drill.
No doubt. That's something that I think everybody wants to. You know what? Little kids are a whole lot of fun, but they hit that little period where when they're toddlers, where they let everybody know they got a voice every night. So So we're gonna get ourselves we're gonna jump in to our college football talk stuff, and I know, folks, that we got reported a little bit that we have some echo going on, so we're going to try and cancel that out for you for sure. So we are conscious of it if you're answering in the chat at all. And guys, please tonight, as we talk about different things, if you have a question, if you have a live question, you want to talk to our guest, or you want to just interact with Coach and I, this week we'll be throwing chat comments up on the screen for those notable ones. Those people that are adding the most to the program tonight. So we're excited to do that for the first time, be a little bit more interactive with it. So, Coach, you ready to get moving right with our next thing? Here? Chad's going to let us know. What's up next. Chad, tell him.
College football talk.
There it is. We got some college football talk coming for you, Coach. All right.
Chad.
So what we said, Coach, was we wanted to know what's the most interesting college football scenario, coaching scenario from each of our perspectives. You came up with 3 guys that you have an eye on. I came up with an additional 2. So we're going to kind of tag team it. We'll round robin it here, Coach. We'll start with you. Sure. And your first guy's got a national championship ring on his finger, doesn't he?
He sure does. Dave Aranda, obviously a hot commodity for the last couple of years. People trying to take him away from LSU, and obviously does a really, really nice job, and he'll be replacing Matt Rule at Baylor.
Sure.
I think this is from how interesting this hire can be. I think everybody listening is probably saying, well this is a no-brainer. Yes, it should be a no-brainer in terms of kind of following the success that Matt Rule built in a short time at Baylor before he departed for Carolina. So in that sense, I look at Dave Aranda, and he's in the most ready-to-win situation, I believe.
Yep.
I think Baylor was as high as 7 last year in the rankings. Right, so now you're taking a guy that is, a defensive genius.
Yep.
If you look back to his track record, they had some pretty impressive defenses, and even going back to Wisconsin, where he had pretty much top 15 defenses in the country during his time in Wisconsin, and then even in he got as high as 5. In Wisconsin, he was as high as number 2 defense in the country. Then went to LSU, was number 5 in the country. And then I think what you could say they did the last 2 years, believe it or not. They were 32nd and 35th in total defense. Something tells me that has to do with how good the offense was. I'm sure his defense was out there for a few more possessions than he would have liked. But Dave Aranda, I think, he's ready to win right now, and not because of his resume, but more so the situation that he's walking into. And give credit to him. I'm sure he could have taken any job in the country in the last 2 years, but decided to wait, and I guess it paid off winning a national championship. And now he's going to run the show at Baylor, and it's going to be really fun to watch.
And I think, Coach, he was also, as you said, this is a coach of a case of a coach kind of waiting to pick the job that really appealed to him. If you remember, there were some jobs that were thrown his way. I think for a while it was the UNLV job was mentioned for him, like different jobs in the past, even before this past season, where there were opportunities for him to go and run his own program. And LSU got hot in a hurry. It's funny when you look back at what they were, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They had a lot of conflict. They had a lot of they just seemed like they were kind of in disarray, and there were good coaches involved all over. There were guys who were like Mac that I had on tap will probably interest some people, and he's a name that's a first-time head coach. And Coach, I know it's somebody that you know personally. I know just from the guys, the traffic that you and Coach Hansen at St. Peter's Prep, the traffic that you guys get in the building. This is a guy you've come across a lot in recent years, and that is Coach Ricky Ronnie, who's making a transition from a pretty high-profile position as the offensive coordinator at Penn State, and he's taking his first head coaching assignment down at Old Dominion University, down at ODU, which is a program that's really been on the rise. They were I got to go back and look at the history. I probably should have known that ahead of time here, Coach. But I believe ODU started as a program probably within the last 12 or 14 years that they started, and they started at the FCS level, and then moved on to they've obviously moved up, and now they're an FBS school. But Coach Ronnie is someone who has developed tremendous relationships, and that's why I think that could be a real factor. The fact that he has really gotten himself ingratiated, and obviously our experience is as New Jersey high school coaches, we've seen the way that he's been able to recruit the area. And I really haven't run into a person who told me, like, I don't like that guy. Ricky Ronnie's got a really good reputation. And I think that that has staying power. Of course, it's the emblem on your chest when you walk into a school. People see Penn State, they get excited. But I don't think that's the only thing that's kind of a big factor when it comes to Ricky Ronnie. I think a lot of it is personality and relationships, and the way that people feel that he is a pretty straight shooter in recruiting. So I think ODU's picked a good one. He's in a situation where I think is a good one for a coach. He's coming off a a season where they went 1-11, and that's what he's inheriting now. And all eyes are up, looking to improve as quickly as possible. So I feel good for Coach Ronnie, and hoping that that things go well for him there. I know, Coach, you got a guy who also came from a high-profile place on the other side of the ball, in the Big Ten, in the Big Ten East, and now making his way to the Northeast, to a city that I know and love, Coach, and that's Jeff Hafley up at Boston College.
Yeah, you talked about Coach Ronnie being a good recruiter, and Coach Hafley, going back to when I first met him, stint at Pittsburgh, and then obviously over to Rutgers.
Sure.
Coach Hafley is one of the best recruiters in the country at that level.
Yeah.
So the deal with Coach Hafley and Boston College is, I think, in terms of the fan base, he's walking into a situation where their expectations are really, really high.
Yep.
You talk about the last, you do well. Like I said, he's a great recruiter. He'll spend a lot of time in New Jersey. Obviously, he's a Jersey guy himself.
Yep.
So we're excited to have him back on the East Coast, and he's going to do good things.
Yeah, I think so. And as you said, Coach, you and I even have some history. So many years ago, when you and I were on the same high school staff, he recruited a guy who was actually a Brooklyn, New York kid playing high school ball in Jersey City at Hudson Catholic, Jason Hendricks, who went with Coach Hafley to University of Pittsburgh at that time. And then years later, wound up getting reunited when he signed as a free agent with the Cleveland Browns. And Coach Hafley, as you said, he's had a varied career here so far. I think is going to equip him well. He has a lot of familiarity with the NFL, which I think appeals to guys, obviously, because they want a coach who can help them project to the next level. I think most FBS players, when they enter college, if they don't have at least as some kind of a goal to play professionally, you're probably recruiting the wrong kind of guys, because you want the guys who want to be the best. So I think he will do well. And he's in a town that is a pro sports town all the way, man. And it's funny because when BC's doing well, they really can get a lot of attention. I remember back as a kid, just even in the Doug Flutie era, man, just seeing like when BC they finished 4th in the country one year, that it was just, which you're not old enough to have seen Doug Flutie when you were a kid playing college, but it's true, man. It's true. I did see it. And
who? I think I'm too young to know who Doug Flutie is.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's talk about this picture real quick. This is when Coach was with the 49ers. That is some that's like a Batman utility belt, man. Look at that belt that he has on with the headset, man. That's like significant, Coach. He's got all types of gadgets and gizmos. When I see Coach Hafley, I'm going to ask him what was on this belt. It's pretty impressive stuff, man. So we're going to jump to my next guy. The only guy who's not a head coach on the list, Coach, all right? And this guy, I got a soft spot for this kind of coach, and I'll tell you why. This guy is from a coaching family. He's Graham Harrell from USC. USC is, if you think LSU a year and a half or 2 years ago was a mess, just pick USC as a bigger mess, because there's been so many issues. Clay Helton had the most, looked like he was going to get the hook period going on that I can remember in recent memory. That speculation every week, like week to week. He, as far as I can remember, in many decades of being a college football fan, I can never ever a period of job speculation to the extent that he did, and then survived it and moved forward. I can never recall something like that. So the reason I think it's significant is he needed to get answers at the offensive coordinator spot. And we kept hearing that Graham Harrell just would be on his way and he'd be going somewhere else. And I think his presence there is thanks for the shot of the ceiling, Coach. We appreciate that, man. I think might have bumped the webcam there. I think that his presence as a just kind of like a stabilizing force on that team. They went as deep as 4 quarterbacks on their team last year, and still were able to do. Really, I thought had a pretty good season. They play one of the most brutal schedules in the country, and I thought that USC pulled it out and did pretty well, all things considered, including the turmoil. So it'd be a really interesting season to see how on Clay Helton's staff that Coach Harrell is able to replicate what they did last year and be part of a team that's moving forward, because the expectations probably don't get any bigger than they are at USC. And I think this will certainly be a do-or-die year for Clay Helton professionally. That's for sure. So,
Yep.
Our last guy is your last guy, Coach. And I don't know if this guy's going to win a lot of games. I hope he does. But I will tell you this. He's got the best name in college football. And guys, let me just remind you real quick. Answer in the chat. We'll throw you up on the screen in the chat if Coach Fitz is asking, hey, is Coach O'Flaherty hiding from us? He's not, man. We're gonna get that camera adjusted for him. But this next guy at Appalachian State, Eli Drinkwitz, Coach. Is there a better name in college football than that?
I don't think so. Coach, before I get into him, right? He's going to a school that years ago I was wearing a shirt, right? And there's a fan. We're going to a baseball game, and there's a fan that walks by and screams M-I-Z.
That's right.
And if you remember correctly, I looked at him with 10 heads, and I said M-I-Z. I think it was supposed to be Z-O-U.
It was, Coach.
So that's a funny story there.
Hey, Coach, let me see if in your old age you have a good memory. Do you remember what city we were in and what athletic event we were outside? Can you remember?
Take a shot in the dark here. I'm going to say we are was it a Major League Baseball game?
It was a Major League Baseball game, Coach.
Okay, so I'm going to say it was the Chicago White Sox.
Excellent, Coach. Excellent job. We were in Chicago at, I believe it was called U.S. Cellular Field at the time. I don't think it's called that anymore. Yep. And we watched a White Sox game. We live lavishly on the road. We pay way too much on per diem on the road, and we go to high-profile events like Major League Baseball games when we're out there. We were doing a camp at Montini Catholic. So, Coach, when it comes to Coach Drinkwitz, what is it that made you pick him for your list tonight?
Well, a couple things. With Coach Drink, looking at where he's going, right? So I did some research on Missouri, right? And they kind of fell off the map the last couple of years under Barry Odom.
Yep.
And I went back to the Pinkel era. And, going back to 2007, Missouri was number 1 in the country in the AP at one point.
Yep.
They were at number 7. They were at 5. They were kind of, they were a perennial, at least a top 25 team, if not top 10 team.
No doubt.
So, I'm thinking back, and, Barry Odom went 25 and 25. He went 0-2 in bowl games.
Yep.
And then, kind of now, flip the focus to Coach Drink, where, looking at his track record and his success. So I got to know him a little bit when he was at North Carolina State.
Yep.
So just trying to follow him there, what he did offensively, as he was the offensive coordinator. And they were posting, some pretty good numbers, at least to North Carolina standards.
Yeah.
Some school records along the way. And then he goes to App State, right? And has a phenomenal season last year. And the last one and done for App State was a guy named Matt Brown. So that turned out pretty good on Coach Brown's side of things. So again, and then if you look at Scott Satterfield, who was previously at App State for a bunch of years as an assistant, was 6 years as head coach, and is now at Louisville. So just looking.
So from the App State perspective, the kind of that App State pedigree, I think, is one that for they're guys who are able to do more with less. I think that's the mentality. I think that's the ethos there. And I think that appeals to athletic directors when they look to make a hire. I think it's just it's something that you want. You want somebody who has that kind of attitude about them that says like they're able to produce. And obviously on the graphic that we had there, Coach Drinkwitz had his App State graphic that was there. He's obviously headed to Missouri. But I think there's something to be said for guys that if you've ever taken a look at the Appalachian State facilities and what they're able to do and the quality of kid that they're able to recruit there, it's probably not the most appealing destination in college football, So being able to do something there, I think is it really does speak volumes, and I think it probably bodes well. You said that Coach Satterfield had success ahead of time And so that's something that's I think pretty significant as well. So Coach, great job on the college football stuff, and I love doing that. We try to bounce around from college football to NFL topics as well. So we'll get back at it next week with something fun. Answer in the chat if you think that you have an opinion. If you have some kind of opinion about who's the coach that you think is the most interesting scenario for 2020 in college football, let us know. And get in the habit of answering in the chat, because we're gonna turn you loose when we get to Complete QB Trivia in a little while as well. Okay, Coach, you ready to jump into our guest here or what?
I sure am.
All right, let's get him queued up. Let's say hello to this gentleman. Was first team All State in 2019. He's a really special, first of all, human being, but also a really good football player. He's first team All State. He did just about everything you can do in the course of a high school football season, I believe, and that's for him. I think was that's a pretty significant accomplishment considering the level of competition he was playing at in the state of New Jersey, in that Group 4 non-public. That classification is pretty significant that he was able to accomplish all of that. So we've got you gotta love this. You gotta love the production here at Complete QB, Coach. We're on the move. I love it. Renee in the production truck is doing an unbelievable job for us, just getting us situated here. So we'll jump right into it. Without further ado, the defending first team All State Group 4 quarterback from New Jersey, Tahj Bullock. Welcome to the program, man. Happy to have you on Complete QB Live.
Thank you, Coach. What's up?
All right, good. Before we get into anything, I heard that your offensive coordinator in high school, I heard, is a real diva, man. If he acts anything like he does on the set of Complete QB Live and during production meetings, he's a difficult guy to deal with. How's your relationship with your offensive coordinator? I want to know, Tahj.
Me and Coach O'Fall, that's like my guy. We get along great, and off the field is even better. Our relationship is real good.
I'm glad
I love Coach O'Flaherty.
I'm glad to hear that. Now, for those in our audience that don't know, that Tahj is coached in high school by Coach O'Flaherty at St. Peter's Prep in Jersey City. Now, I want to know, Coach is also in the building. He's a world-class, not just an unbelievable offensive coordinator, he's a world-class phys ed instructor as well. Have you ever taken on Coach O'Flaherty in basketball?
Oh, never. Oh, yeah, I have actually. All
right, and how do you feel about his game in basketball? How do you feel like, is he any – what do you think about his – what's his strength, what's his weakness? Because I'm going to give you my answer, but tell me what his strength, what his weakness is.
Coach's strength is that he's in the gym all day, every day, and he's getting shots up, and he's just better than everybody because of shooting. He shoots it all the time.
Yeah.
Green.
It's like he grew up in Lithuania, man. All he doesn't play defense, just airs it out, man. That's all he does. He's a very European style player. The way he gets after it.
Yeah.
The other thing though, I also want to just point out that Coach is he's been known to travel, little Euro step, and he's also like overly physical. He's going against say you got like a point guard body. Coach tries to body me, and gets a little rough, but I still deal with it, and I'm able to do pretty well, So, in all seriousness, Tahj, it's great to have you here. I'll probably take the lead on most of the questions because this is going to be hard-hitting journalism right here, brother. We're not going to let you get just softball questions from Coach O'Flaherty, okay? So I want to jump right into it. We'll get to the whole recruiting piece and what life is like with that. But I know from your work ethic in general that I know you're a guy who approaches the game with a level of seriousness that we usually don't find from high school guys, that's certainly complimentary. So I want to know just right now where your game is at. Coming off of a state championship season, I know that you're back in the lab. I know that you're mindful of getting better. So what do you think you need to work on most as a quarterback, and what do you think you do well as a quarterback?
So in this offseason, it's a complete grind, like you said, Coach, and I'm working every day. So, I'm just getting bigger, faster, stronger every day. I'm just working. And as far as, what I see in myself needs to improve, Coach Steven stresses to me every day in practice, just keeping that tall, firm base, using my lower body to throw as well. That's what I try to emphasize so far in, this offseason so far. Okay. And as well as, getting downhill and throws because I struggle with that a lot. Yep. And it's using just all my arms, so, my lower body.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, before you even jump to what you do well, what do you think? So, what's your of the base lifts that you guys do in the strength and conditioning program at Prep? What do you think is your best lift? The one that you look forward to the most because you do the best on?
Yeah, I love doing power cleans, hand cleans.
You do?
And,
Okay.
I love, yeah. That's
All
what I
right.
like to do a lot.
Well, college coaches would love to hear that from a quarterback. That's for sure, because that's definitely a power movement. It incorporates the full chain of human movement in there. So, what do you think is your strength right now? If you're stopping in and having a one-on-one with Tahj Bullock, what do you think you're going to identify as Tahj Bullock's strength right now?
Strength is just my versatility. You know, I could do it all for my team. I love going out with my guys, working hard, and I just want to do everything I can to help my team win. So
Okay.
I'm working hard every day.
What about your best throw, your best route? What route do you think you're the best at? Coach O'Flaherty was a big deep curl guy in high school. I'll tell you a little story about that in a minute. But what's your best route?
I need to prove on everything, but I would say I like throwing like a deep crossers. We got like this play called oh no, we not
yeah, don't do that. I'll tell you what, if Coach Hansen watching, he might catch a cardiac if he hears your name and plays on the air. So don't do that. But so you like the deep crosser. All right, well that's good. That's something. That's important. You got to be able to throw that ball in college football for sure. So you've obviously been dealing with a lot of coaches. We're really not like recruiting central. I think there's a lot of people that do that. This is a Wednesday night break where we just sit back and we talk football. But we can't have you on with the number of FBS interest and offers that you have from Power 5 conferences and schools. We can't completely ignore the recruiting piece. I do want to know, and this is interesting to me, and I think it can help guys that are going to come along in the years following you, any of those guys who are listening, and maybe some college football coaches that tune in live or on the replay will heed what it is you have to say. The guys that you've dealt with that you think are the most, that are the highest character guys or the most effective or the most genuine, what is it about them that you think, what characteristics do those guys, those high-quality recruiters, what do they share?
It's just they share love and like an interest in me, you know. Just they respect my game, they respect my work ethic. I could tell they have like an interest in my game and love to have me at the program. And that's why I like look for in coaches, you know.
No doubt. Have you encountered guys that are just like text warriors that just bomb you constantly and just like, has anyone ever accidentally texted you with the wrong name? That's what I'd like to know.
Oh, no.
All right, thank God. So no one's getting fired because of how the way they handle Taj Bullock. I had that happen to a kid one time, and I happened to be standing next to the kid during the school day, and this school really, really wanted the kid, and they texted him somebody else's name. It was like he was a copy paste warrior on in text messaging. So that's good to know that hasn't really happened to you. Do you think how have you grown up from the day you walked into high school to now? As a just overall. Now, Coach, I'm going to put him on blast right now. What's your GPA right now, Taj?
I got 3.3 GPA right now.
We like that. We like to hear that, man. That's excellent. That's actually higher than Coach O'Flaherty's was in high school. I'm one of these times we're going to put his transcript up on the screen. It also beats mine just by a nose from high school. But how have you grown up just across the board, whatever, socially, academically, athletically? How have you gotten better in 3 years?
As far as like just growing up as a man, you know, and improving myself, just as soon as I stepped foot in prep, you know, the whole coaching staff took me under their wing, as well as teachers and staff, administrative staff, stuff like that. You know, everyone just at prep, they just all collectively put in and like helped me grow as a person, you know, and just take that, be open to growth, like that's what we're here for at prep. Just be open to growth, just everything. Yeah, I've grown as a person, as a man, as a player. And I thank prep for that.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. And someone's chiming in the chat about Coach O'Flaherty's transcript. That's a low blow there from that coach there. So now, given that, what do you think is is there anything that you see maybe quarterbacks overlook, young quarterbacks, as they come into high school, and do they ever take their eyes off the prize? Is there anything that you think quarterbacks should be more focused on than they are?
Like what I pride myself on, especially when I came into prep, you know, just like laser focus. Don't focus on anything else but yourself.
Yeah.
get your own work in, get everything done. Because when I came into prep, I was battling for a spot with Simon Maynard. So I mean, besides a great guy, great friend off the field, we got a great relationship now still.
Yeah.
But I wanted to come into prep and I wanted to compete, and that's what I did from day one.
Okay.
So you just gotta look forward to competition every day.
No doubt.
Just grind.
That's good. Now, what do you think about? Have you encountered? I don't want you to name people, but have you encountered kids that probably too caught up in the social media thing, and so and so got an offer and looking in the other lanes? Have you seen that from kids?
Like what do you mean, Coach?
I'm saying there's a lot. We find I see it for sure that sometimes you could be a high school athlete, particularly a high school football player, and get too caught up with, well, so-and-so got an offer from this and they tweeted it out and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that where guys are they got their eyes in the wrong lane? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I've seen it in some guys even at prep. So, I mean, it's just all a matter of you just knowing what you're capable of, knowing how much work you put in, just knowing you're getting better yourself. And that's all really matters.
No doubt. Well, I think that's a good message if people could take something away. Have you thought about, aside from football, you thought about what you want to major in college?
Yeah, probably architectural, construction engineering, something along those lines.
Really? All right. Well, I like to hear that. I am a big fan of the DIY network, Taj. So maybe we compare drawings sometimes. I got a couple structures drawn up on napkins, brother, that I want you to get a look at and tell me what. After you got a few years of academia under your belt at the collegiate level, I'd like your opinion.
Yeah, I got you, Coach.
Hey, I'm hogging the guest right now, Coach O'Flaherty. You got anything for Taj?
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is obviously a very unique setup here. You don't often get to interview your quarterback, right? So I'm going to take a little bit of a step back and kind of talk about some lighter issues here. So the first thing, right, trying to get into the players' heads, right? Us as coaches, we think we know our players inside and out. Right. But if you think back to last year, a lot of people see the final product, right? They see state championship, they see 11-1, and that's great. But a lot of people don't know we were trailing in 5 games last year. At one point or another, we were trailing in 5 games. So my question to you, and you don't got to throw anybody under the bus here. When we're trailing in games, and coaches come over and they make adjustments, and then they go on their way. What's the mentality? Starting with yourself, what's the mentality knowing that you're going to be getting the ball back, down a score or 2?
Right. Like I said just a second ago, just laser focus. I depended on the entire team last year, and those guys, we all push each other. That's why we all had a great bond. We all connected with each other so much off the field, on the field. And then I just wanted to, ball out for those guys. So just locking in, make sure we're going to get the ball back. We're going to do what we're going to do. And we all just balled out, and we all did great.
You sure did. All right. So my last question, because I got a few of these, okay? I got a few of these throws that are kind of imprinted in my head from last year. But if you had to make a highlight film of just 2, 3, 4 throws that you made last year, and you could only put those couple clips on film, what would they be?
So first I go Erasmus Hall, the rollout, and it was the most awkward throw I probably threw the entire season. It was I was fading away, and it was 40 yards probably. I hit Jelani, he scored off it, and I think that gave us 20. And then, we ended up winning that one. Probably that throw. Then I'd probably go Notre Dame. Yeah, Notre Dame. I think this is the best throw on my entire highlight tape. Notre Dame. We actually ran the sail route with the crosser, deep crosser. We ran it. Yep. I hit Jelani on that. I'd probably go that one. And then probably who's that? St. Augustine, the post to Byron.
Okay, so we're on the same page. I thought for those that are listening, that post to Byron Shipman was to tie the game. Came off a huge play action throw down the middle of the field. It was a great read, great throw. The two others that I had in mind, Jelani Mason to win the game early in the season. I thought that whole drive was really, really impressive against BC. But that throw, your
Live interweb, and we're back with Tahj Bullock from St. Peter's Prep in Jersey City. Tahj, there's one thing I wanted to wrap with for you. So wrap up with a question. Is we had a so in North Jersey, I know that a lot of the games, and people see on the overlay right now, they see in the bottom right hand corner, they see different games that you played in that were some pretty big environments, with a lot of attention, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of media coverage, all that fun stuff. Now you played in the state championship at Giant Stadium, but I've been in a couple of state championship games, and usually they're played in stadiums that are just gigantic, and you may pack in thousands of fans, but it feels like there's 100 people there because of the size of the stadium in some ways. So I wonder, in the regular season, some of those matchups, some of the big matchups that you have with some of the big North Jersey schools, those have to have an electric atmosphere that almost feels like a state championship type environment, doesn't it?
Right,
yeah. Now, what game aside from is the state championship the most anticipated, the most nervous you were before a game?
Oh no, I wasn't even nervous before MetLife. I was just ready to go out there and just get after it with my guys. I was so amped up. I probably never told anybody this, but I was like so amped up. I think Coach Ofai saw me like right before the game. Like I was actually crying. I was just ready to go.
That's good, man. That's all right.
Sure did.
That's all right. You were fired up. You were ready to go.
I'm gonna let that one slide, Taj, but you brought it up, so now it's fair game.
Yeah, we're gonna have to tweet that out tomorrow on social media. We'll see.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Taj, listen, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I think that wherever you make your decision to where you continue your football career after the 2020 season, I think they're going to get a quality guy first and foremost, and somebody who's going to do well at whatever conference or level that you choose to play at. And I think it's something that we'll probably have you back as you go through this process and just do a check-in with you and see where you're at and when you announce where it is that you're going to wind up for the next 4 years. So we just wish you nothing but success, man. I want to thank you for being with us. All right, man?
Yeah, no doubt, Coach. Appreciate you having me.
All right, you got it, man. So that's everybody. That's Tahj Bullock. So thrilled to have him with us, and we'll turn you loose now, Tahj, and we got to get it now. Actually, Tahj, you know what? I want you to stay right there, Tahj. You want to know why? Because I want to see how the young guy could do. If the young guy's capable of getting into trivia in just a minute, but Coach and I got to jump into our drill segment. Coach, you ready to do that? Coach, we're doing a world premiere tomorrow. Chad's going to let him know what this is right now.
Drill of the week.
That's right, Chad. You let him know drill of the week, man. That's what we're looking at. And Coach and Tahj is flopping names again. Thank God for Renee in the production truck, man. It would be a mess without her. So the drill of the week, Coach, we're going to do just a little bit of a tease. But Coach O'Flaherty, I want to know from your perspective, what is the front arm, the role of the front arm, man? Where does it help us? Where does it hurt us? What do you think guys should be doing as they get set to deliver the football?
Yeah, so front arm obviously does a lot from, not only from obviously protection of the football. We always talk about the uneven hand pressure, but in terms of generating the ability to open up that front end and being able to open up the front end with discipline. You talked about, opening up, maybe too much or not enough, the quarterback position, such a thin line of, make or break. And that's what the front arm essentially does. It gives you, the ability to generate that power to bring that backside through. And, obviously, you start working the core into your lower body. You take all that pressure off your throwing arm.
No doubt. And Coach, so one of the things that I know we emphasize a lot when we work with individuals or groups and at the camps, at Complete QB camps, we talk about the role of the front arm being one that you got to have a disciplined approach to it, because you have guys that are crossover from other sports. Baseball players a lot of times have a tendency to flail out wide with that front arm. Other guys have been coached to rip through with that front arm, and they wind up over-rotating and getting themselves to a point where that front hip opens up too much, and it impacts the front, the non-throwing foot and the non-throwing knee. And so tomorrow, Coach, we're going to give a little tease, just a little tease right there, Coach. just a little tease for what we're going to drop tomorrow. It's just a tennis ball drill. And that's one that at first looks a little bit silly, but when we release this drill tomorrow, I think everybody will see what it is that we're talking about. It can help you develop some discipline and some consistency with how, at what rate, and to what extent your top half rotates. And right now, guys, while we're, for the most part, stuck in quarantine, except for in very limited cases down south, guys don't have the opportunity to get around their teammates right now, at least to any great extent. So it's these type of things, these detailed things when it comes to playing the quarterback position, I think are really important for us to take a look at. Okay, so we'll look for that tomorrow. We'll obviously put that out on social media when that does drop on YouTube. And now something that is really fun for us, Coach. Chad, let us know what we're getting into here, buddy.
Time for complete QB trivia.
There it is. Coach O'Flaherty loves Chad, man. Chad drops a load on him with the voice, man. He does a great job, man. So we got a couple things here. Now, this is going to – I want to see if any of the young guys – now, Taj, this is the honor system here, man. You get to answer, but you don't get to answer out loud because we like to give away a prize to the people in the chat room who answer this. So we're going to jump into this one and see who is capable of answering this one. You probably won't even know the answer, to be honest with you. So which of the following – we talked earlier about Graham Harrell, his dad, and I think his grandfather were Texas high school coaches. Which of the following NCAA coaches was never a high school head coach? And your choices here on this answer are, was it A, Gus Malzahn, B, Mike Leach, C, Chad Morris, or D, Hugh Freeze? We're going to answer in the chat. First person to answer in the chat is going to get some kind of treat laid on him from Complete QB. Something nice, man. Something really sharp. Maybe something like the sweatshirt that Coach O'Flaherty's wearing. Maybe something like a vintage Complete QB Camp T-shirt. There, we got to know which of these four guys was never a high school football coach. Now, the guys that are on the screen right now, we obviously have Coach Gus Malzahn is at Auburn University. Coach Mike Leach, newly hired at Mississippi State, right? After a good run at Washington State and obviously Texas Tech before that, where he coached Graham Harrell, who we talked about earlier, and then later on had him as an assistant on his staff. C is Chad Morris, who's been a couple places now, so he's been around a little bit as well. And then Hugh Freeze, who has had some notoriety. And then we've got an answer that just came in, and I'll tell you what, this guy's spot on. We know this guy. He's one of the outstanding high school football coaches in the state of Massachusetts, one of Coach O'Flaherty's all-time favorites. He beat Hector Santiago to the punch just by a little bit, and he got the correct answer, which is B, Mike Leach. Mike Leach at Mississippi State is the correct answer. The rest of those guys, Gus Malzahn coached at West Memphis in Arkansas, and then other places. Chad Morris was a successful high school head coach. All those guys enjoyed a lot of success, except for Mike Leach, he coached overseas, but he never coached in high school. Okay, so that's an interesting one there. And Coach Dembo, you're going to get something from the Complete QB prize vault. We're very excited about it. You're going to get something really nice for yourself. Okay, so
Coach, I might have to throw something a little extra for his push-up comment earlier in the
absolutely, absolutely, Coach.
Get him extra shirt, would you?
That absolutely. So we're excited for next week also, Coach, because it's a guy we know has had a heck of a lot of success at the high school level down in Kentucky, and he's put a lot of quarterbacks to FBS Power 5 schools over the years at his time as an offensive coordinator at Lexington Catholic, and now his time as the head coach at Ryle High School in Union, Kentucky, where he coached a guy who I saw yesterday got bumped to first-round projection in the NFL draft, Tanner Morgan at the University of Minnesota. Mike Engler is going to be our guest next week and coach Tanner in high school. Coach Engler is, first of all, one of the classiest guys you'll ever meet in or out of football, and he's also got a tremendous he's also just got a tremendous football knowledge and just he's a kind of an offensive savant, if you ask me, Coach. So we're looking forward to next week. Coach, any parting shots from you, Coach O'Flaherty, before we wrap this one?
Well, I'm really excited for next week just because if you remember, I haven't been able to get down to Mike Engler's site for Complete QB camps the last couple of years. So it'll be really nice catching up with him.
No doubt.
And then obviously I don't got much to say to Taj because I got to talk with him tomorrow in a meeting. So
there we go. Absolutely.
We still got work to do. So that's the approach I'm taking with Mr. Bullock there.
We love hearing that. So, Taj, once again, thanks for being our guest. Coach O'Flaherty, thanks for being, and folks that tuned in and everybody that checks this out. We found that we got a lot of viewership after the fact. Folks, we take all our live streams, we drop them into our live stream archive on YouTube. So please check that out. Please make sure you subscribe to all of our social media platforms. We're at Complete QB on Twitter and on Facebook. We're at Complete QB 2000 on Instagram, and then Complete QB videos on YouTube. Coach, there is still that rumor floating around that Complete QB has a TikTok account. Coach Taj, you better watch out because Coach Johnston will be throwing some TikToks up there for you. Okay, so make sure, Taj, you better go and follow right now. You better get over it. You got a TikTok account, Taj?
Nah, I don't use
Well,
TikTok.
you better create one. You make it private, whatever, and just be a follower because I think we have like 1 follower right now. I'd like to see those numbers swell. So, folks, check out Complete. There's no content there yet, but I promise something is coming. But otherwise, guys, just good luck, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week at Complete QB Live.